Hello students, welcome back to Unix programming class. Today we will be learning about the environment variables. The shell variables we have seen in the previous class. There are two types, the local variables and environment variables. Okay, the local variables and environment variables. Few of the variables we saw how to create and make use of them in the previous class. They are so called because they are available in user's total environment. Okay, so this environment variables are called environment variables because they are available in user's total environment. They are like global variables in our programming language. So global variables are available in whole program, right? Any functions which we create in a program. A similar way, environment variables are global variables which will be available in the Unix complete system, total environment. That's why it is called as a environment variable. Total environment, in the sense it will be available in subshells that run the shell script. So what is this subshell? Subshell is, when we log into the system, the shell available to us is the login shell, and after that whenever we execute a shell script or a command, that main shell will spawn a child shell. Okay, the main shell will spawn a child shell which will execute that command or a shell script. That is called as a subshell. Okay, so in that subshell also environment variables are available. In mail commands also it is available, and also in the editors. I told you about VI editor, right? So even in the editors the environment variables are available. Okay, so that's why they are called as they are available in total environment of the Unix. Okay, so local variables are restricted in scope. Okay, so their scope is less. Local variable scope is less. They are not available in the total environment. We will see what is the scope of the local variables. Okay, environment variables control the behavior of the system. So why it is used? Why the environment variables are used? Because they are they will be controlling the behavior of the system. We'll see what are those and how they will control. See, for example, let us create a variable called download dir. In the previous class we studied, right, how to create the variables. Download dir is a variable which we have created now, and we have assigned this download directory variable a path /home/kumar/download. Okay, so this path we have assigned to this variable. So now download dir has this path. Okay, so then let us display the value of download dir. Echo dollar download dir, it will display the value of the download dir, right? Dollar, when we prefix with a variable, it will give you the value of that variable, right? So it is giving the value of this variable. So it is a local variable. Okay, this download dir is a local variable, means its scope is limited. Its value is not available in child processes or child shell. Okay, it will not be available in child processes or child shell. For example, if you say $sh, now you are shifting into a child shell. Okay, now sh, when you say, it means that you are executing a script, shell script, and then it will move into a child shell. And now if you say echo download dir, it will not be visible in the child shell. So here we entered into the child shell, and in the child shell, see, we have created the download dir in the main shell. Now here with this step we have entered into the child shell, and when you execute echo $download dir to display the value of download dir, it will not be visible in the child shell. Okay, it will not be visible in the child shell. Echo $path, but path is visible. Why path is visible? Because path is an environment variable, right? So even in the child shell the path will be available. So when you say echo $path, it will display the path. What is path? Path is a set of directories which will be searched by the shell when you execute a command. That command file will be present in any of these directories. That file will be fetched by the shell and it will execute, right? That is the path. So path is available, or you can check with any other environment variable. It will be available here. Okay, path or shell or home, any environment variable. If you execute in the child shell, it will be available. But the variable which you have created in the main shell and you are trying to access it in the child shell, it will not be available because it is a local variable and its scope is not within the child shell. Then to come out of this child shell, you say exit, you will come out of it, and then you can check with the download directory. You can execute this command echo download directory and that will be visible. Okay. So set statement is a shell built-in statement. Okay, set is a statement in Unix which is a shell built-in. We have seen, right, some of the commands are shell built-in and they are called as internal commands. So a set is one such internal command. It displays all the variables in the current shell. Okay, all variables it will display. Whatever the variables are there in the current shell, it will display. But there is another variable called env. Okay, env is an external command and it runs in a child process. Okay, it runs in a child process. When you execute env, it will be running in the child process. So it displays only environment variables. Okay, it will display only the environment variables. Set will display download dir but not env because env runs in the child process, right? It runs in the child shell. Process means a program which is under execution. So shell is under execution, you can call shell as a process. Okay, so child process, it runs in the child process. So set will not display env. Okay, it is not in the current shell, it is in the child shell. So it will not display env. Okay. So these are some set of when you execute env command, these are the all environment variables which will be displayed. Home, ifs, log name, we will discuss all of them in the next slides. Mail, mail check, path, ps1, ps2, shell and term. So these are the different environment variables which are available in Unix. We will be studying all of them in detail. So these variables we will be studying in the next slides. Environment variables determine the environment in which you work. Okay, it will determine the environment in which you are working. It will tell you the information, it will give you the information of your environment. If they are not set properly, if the environment variables are not set properly, then it may interrupt the normal functioning of the system. Okay, it may cause some problems in executions. So common environment variables are hist size, home, host name, log name, mail, man path, path, ps1. So let us see what are these. Hist size, it is the size of the shell history file in number of lines. That is history command we executed in the previous class, right, which will display all the commands which we executed previously. So that size, it will display how many history commands to be displayed. That size it will store. And then home will store the home of the user, the path of home of the user. So whenever a user logs in, a home directory will be allocated for the user and that directory path will be stored in this environment variable, right? Host name is the local host name, host system's name. Log name means it is your login name as what you have logged in. Okay, if you have logged in as Kumar or you have logged in as Sharma or you have logged in as CSE, something like that. Okay, it need not be always a person's name. Log name may be a group name also, anything which you give. Okay, so that is the login name. Then mail is the location of your incoming mail folder. Okay, so where all your incoming mails will be stored, that location will be stored in this mail environment variable. Man path, it is the path to search the man pages. Okay, this will be it will be storing the path for searching the man pages. Then path we have discussed just now, it will be used for searching the commands. It is a path for set of paths for searching the commands. Okay, then PS1, PS stands for primary prompt. Primary prompt means whenever you log into the shell, you will get this dollar prompt, right? So that dollar prompt you can change, that dollar symbol you can change. Okay, you can change it to your wish character. So like you can change it to an @ symbol, or you can change it to a hash symbol. Okay, anything other than dollar, you can change any other character. That is using this PS1. By default it will be a dollar, but you can change it to any other variable, any other symbol, okay, which you wish. That is the primary prompt symbol. Then other variables are PS2. It is a secondary prompt. Okay, PS2 means primary prompt 2. That is secondary prompt. Secondary prompt means, see, when we get a dollar prompt and we type a command and it doesn't end in a single command, single line, then it will give you the secondary prompt to continue it. We have checked with echo command execution, right? So it will give you the secondary prompt to continue the command, and that secondary prompt will have this symbol, right, this greater than symbol. So that greater than symbol will be, you can change it. Okay, PS2 will help you to change that secondary prompt. Okay, then PWD is present working directory. It will store the path of our current working directory. Then shell means which shell we are currently using, whether we are using the bash shell, Bourne shell, corn shell, C shell. So that shell and where that shell is stored, that path will be stored in this shell environment variable. Then term is a variable which will tell you the terminal name which we are using. Okay, then UID is the user ID of the current user. Then user is the login name of the user. Then mail check, how often the mail arrival of a new mail to be checked, how often, whether every minute the shell have to check for the arrival of new mail, or every 2 minutes or every 5 minutes, that you can set here. Okay, by default it will be in our previous case, you can see here mail check is 60, that means 60 seconds, that is 1 minute. Okay, so every 1 minute you have to check whether a new mail has arrived or not. Okay, then CD path, it is a list of directories searched by the CD when used with a non-absolute path name. Non-absolute means relative path name, right? So whenever you use relative path name with CD, then it will search the CD path to change, that is with respect to current directory or the parent directory. Okay, so let us see all these environment variables one by one. Before that, we will execute that scope of the variable, how the local variable scope and global environment variable scope varies. Okay, let us create a variable, local variable, let us say x, and assign some value to it. Let us say x is equal to 5, and this variable is created. So check whether it is created and assign the value with echo command, echo $x. So value of x will be displayed. Yes, it is 5. Now you enter into the child shell by executing sh. Okay, executing sh, you have entered into the child shell. Now you say the same command. Now you check the value of x with echo $x. it will not be displayed, because in the child shell the scope of the local variable is not there. Okay, it will not be available. The local variable is not available in the child shell. But similarly, you check the existence of or availability of the environment variable. Let us say $path. So path is available. Similarly, you can say echo $shell. So that is also available. Okay, environment variables are also available in the main shell and the child shell as well. But when you create a variable in the main shell, it is not available in the child shell. Okay, it is not available in the child shell because the scope of main shell variable is not in the child shell. Okay, so that is how the scope of environment variables and the local variables differ. To come out of this, you can say exit. So now we have come out of the child shell. Now you can check the variable value x variable's value. You can say $x. So now it is available. Okay. So path is also available here, or shell is also available here, right? So it is available anywhere, even the child shell or the main shell. So here environment variable is available in the main shell also, child shell also, but the variable which is created in the main shell is not available in the child shell. Okay. Okay, let us look at the path command. So here this path is an environment variable which will instruct the shell about the route it should follow to locate any executable command. So whenever you give a command, let us say $pwd. So you want to execute this command $pwd. So then this pwd will check in paths list of directories. Wherever it is present, that file will be taken and pwd will be executed, right? So and how you can check the different directories available under path? Echo $path. Okay, it will display all the list of directories where the shell have to check for execution of this pwd. To locate this pwd file, all these directories will be searched by the shell. Okay. So path can be modified. We have seen, right, path modification video. We have seen how path can be modified. So path is how you can set. Suppose you want to add a new directory at the end of all the existing directories, and all existing directories will be separated by a colon, right? So path equal to $path means the current value of path, and at the end of this you will place a colon, and after that you will give the path which you want to append at the end of the path list of directories. Okay, so this is how you can modify the path. So if you want more clarity on this, you can watch that video, path modification video, where the existing path can be modified and a new directory at the end you can add. Okay, so that is about the path. Then the home directory. So your home whenever a user logs in, the user will be given a home directory, and the user will be residing in that home directory, and that home directory path can be obtained by the $home. Okay, $home. This is called the home directory of login user. Okay, so whenever a user logs in, the user will be placed in a home. The home directory for a user is set by the system admin. Okay, so system admin will set the home directory for the user while creating users. Okay, when the user is created, then at that time only the home directory for that user will be set. So how the user will be created? Using the user add command. So we have not seen this. We will see when all the executions are over. So then user add and user mod commands. So user modification. Okay. A user add is creation of new user. User mod is modifying the existing user characteristics. Okay. When these two commands are used at that time, you can set the home directory of the user. Okay, I can set the home directory of the user, and it is done by the system admin. So when you say echo $home, then it will display the home directory of the current user. Simple cd implies cd home. See, when we execute simply cd, we will go back to our home wherever you may be, right? Wherever, in whichever directory you may be, simply when you execute cd, we will directly go back to our home. That means cd, it is nothing but cd $home. We are directed to our home directory. Simply when you execute cd, it is nothing but cd $home. Okay. Next environment variable is mail and mail check. So this mail and mail check environment variables are storing the mailbox location where the newly arrived mail will be stored, and mail check will tell you how often this mailbox has to be checked for arrival of new mails. And whenever a new mail has come, it has to intimate the user. Okay, the incoming mails for a user is generally stored at /var/mail. Okay, incoming mails for a user is stored at /var/mail. This is the location where all our incoming mails will be stored, or it may also be stored in /var/spool mail. So this /var is residing directly below the root. It is a built-in directory. Under var there will be a directory called mail, or under var there will be a directory called spool. Under that mail. Okay. So in these directories, our incoming mails may be stored in these two directories. This location is available in the environment variable called mail. Mail check determines how often the shell checks the file for arrival of the new mail. If shell finds the file modified since last check, it informs the user with a message. That means if new arrival of mail is detected, then the user will be given with a message, you have a mail in this directory, var mail Kumar. Okay, in this directory you have a mail. That message will be sent to the user on detection of a new mail. So that is mail and mail check. The next environment variables are the prompt strings ps1 and ps2, primary string and secondary string. Okay. The prompt that you normally see is the dollar prompt. I told you, no? So whenever you log in, the normal dollar prompt will be available for execution of the commands. And this is the primary prompt. It is called as the primary prompt, and it is stored in this ps1. Okay. So you can check in that values, previous values. Here you can see ps1 we have dollar, and ps2 we have greater than, right? So this is secondary prompt. If you could not complete a command in the primary prompt, you can continue in the secondary prompt, and secondary prompt is having a symbol greater than, right? So these two symbols are present in ps1 and ps2, but if you want, you can change them. So let us see how you can change them. So the prompt ps2 specifies the secondary prompt, ps1 specifies the primary prompt. You can change their values just by assigning the new values which you would like to appear. Okay, ps1, if you say at, instead of dollar, at symbol will be visible, and in place of ps2, if you say ampersand, then instead of greater than symbol, ampersand symbol will be visible. Okay, instead of dollar symbol, at symbol will be visible. Instead of greater than symbol, and symbol will be visible. Okay, so that is how the PS1 and PS2 can be changed. Okay, before that, let us try them and come back. Let us execute this. Okay, when you want to see the home directory, you can say echo $home. It will show you the home directory of the current user. If you want to see the path, you can say $path. It will display the path. If you would like to watch what is the current shell or mail directory, it will display the mailed. Okay, it is not set here, so it in this termux it may not be available. You can check in your systems. Okay, then let us check about PS1 and PS2. So as you can see here, $prompt is available for command execution. Let us change it. Let us change it to, so let us say PS1 equal to within parenthesis you can say at. So now instead of dollar, at symbol will be placed. Okay, now you can see instead of dollar you can get the at symbol. So you can execute some command here. Isn't it great? So you can change symbol of your choice rather than using the dollar symbol. Similarly, you can change the secondary prompt. So now if you say echo some message and you don't complete your command there, it will give you the secondary prompt. So you can complete your command, right? So I will complete the command. So this secondary prompt is having a greater than symbol, right? So this is the secondary prompt and it is having the greater than symbol for showing the secondary prompt. But you can change that also by giving by setting the PS1, that is secondary prompt string, PS2. So PS2 equal to, you can say some symbol, let us say ampersand. So now you execute the same command. See, secondary prompt is ampersand, it is coming here, right? We can check again, echo. Now secondary prompt is ampersand. Rather than greater than symbol, it is giving you the ampersand. Okay. So that is how you can use PS1 and PS2 commands for execution, for changing the symbols of primary and secondary prompt strings. The next environment variable is the shell variable. It is used by the commands with shell escapes. Shell escape means you can change your current shell to some other shell. Okay, you can change your current shell to some other shell. That means you are executing currently on bash shell and you want to execute a script which needs the execution in corn shell. Then you can change your shell. It need not be, you need not be always executing in the bash shell itself. You can change your child shell to your corn shell. Okay, because that shell script needs the facilities of corn shell, you are changing the bash shell to corn shell. So that is shell escape. Okay, so in that case this shell will be useful. So this shell will tells you currently you are using which shell. This shell environment variable will tell you currently you are in which shell, you are using which shell. So how to know? Echo $shell. If you say, it will display the path of the current shell. So now we are using the bash shell. So this environment variable specifies the login shell as well as the shell that interprets the command if preceded by a shell escape. So how to specify the shell escape? I told you when you execute a shell script, you can change your shell type of shell. That is by using this symbol, okay, exclamatory symbol. While we write the shell scripts, we will see how you can make use of the shell escape using this symbol. Shell escape means running the Unix command while using another. Okay, one Unix command you can run when using the other command. So system admin sets your login shell. Okay, system admin is again setting your login shell in a file called etc password when the user account is created. Okay, when the user account is created, system admin will set your shell, which shell, whether bash shell or conch shell or C shell, whatever, that shell will be set for you by the system admin at the time of creation of the user in the file called etc password. We'll see this also, how to set and all. It can be changed on request. Suppose your login shell is set as bash and you want to use a Bourne shell, it can be changed on request by the system admin. Next environment variable is the term. This is the terminal type. The term indicates the terminal type used, which terminal type you are using. How to know? Echo $term. It will display some terminal name, which terminal you are using, type of the terminal you are using. Every terminal has certain characteristics that are defined in a separate control file in term info directory. So characteristics of terminals are present in user lib or user share lib, usr lib or usr share lib. Under this there is a directory called term info. There the characteristics of all the terminals will be available. Term is an important environment variable when you log in to remote machine. When you log into a remote machine and you want to access their terminal, then you can use this term to access the remote terminal, because the remote terminal characteristics are available with the term environment variable. The type of the terminal which you want to access remotely is available in term. The next variable is log name. Environment variable is log name. It shows the username as what you have logged in. If you have multiple accounts and you want to know from which account you logged in, say suppose you have multiple accounts. You have Kumar account, you have Sharma account, you have CSE account, you have AIT account. Okay, so all multiple accounts if you have, then you may be while working, you may forget as what you have logged in. You have logged in as Kumar or you have logged in as Sharma. You may forget. In order to know as what you have logged in, you can use this log name. You can say echo $log name, then it will display what is your log name. Okay. The next environment variable is IFS. IFS stands for internal field separator. It is for commands and arguments. Internal field separator IFS stands for. It contains a string of characters that are used as word separators. So which are the separators we are using currently? Either we use a space or a tab, we call them as white spaces, right? A space or a tab or a new line character, we call them white spaces. They are used as separators. So sometimes you don't want some of them to be acting as separators. You can change in IFS list. Okay. Space, tab or a new line character will be present in the IFS. See, all these are invisible characters, right? This tab, new line character, space are all invisible characters. Hence, you can't see in the list of IFS. See, in the previous list, when we had a list of values for the different environment variables, here you can see IFS is having an empty value. See, this all environment variables are name and value pairs, right? environment variable and its value, environment variable and its value. So all these environment variables are name and value pairs, right? So IFS is also having something here, but it is not visible because it will be having white spaces. It is having a set of separators, right? It is having a set of separators. Okay. Yeah. So it is invisible. Okay, these characters are invisible. So you can see by taking its octal dump. Okay, you can see this by to see which are all them, which are all the characters which are present in IFS. You can see them by taking their octal dump. Okay, so octal dump we have seen, right? So the characters OD command you can use for getting the octal dump. So OD command with minus BC, its octal equivalent plus the character will be displayed in the OD command. So you can say echo IFS, the IFS value you can pass with pipeline to OD minus BC command, then it will display the octal dump of IFS characters. Okay, let us check it. So you can see here, I forgot to show you this execution, set command. See, when you execute set command, it will display all the variables. Okay, it is displaying all the variables which are existing in our current directory. But if you execute env command, it will display only the environment variables. Okay, it will display the environment variables and their values. Okay. Okay, then now we have to see IFS. You can say echo $IFS. So it is not showing anything because these are all invisible characters, right? So you can pass this to another variable. I mean with pipeline to OD command. You can say echo IFS pipeline to, you can give it in quotes, $IFS, then pipeline it with OD minus BC. So now you can see this 040 you can see here, right? This 040, below that the space is there, so it is invisible, right? Below that space is there, it is invisible. Then we can see /t/n, all these characters are present in IFS. These are available in IFS which are invisible but you can see enough. Okay. So next let us see the initialization scripts. See the effect of assigning values to variables, defining aliases and using set options applicable only for login sessions. Suppose if you create any variables or you set any aliases we have seen in the previous class, right? Giving a alternative name for a command or a path. You can use for simple execution. Okay, simplifying execution. So those settings, creation of variables, setting aliases or any set options, all those are available only for your current session. That session means when you log in, you set something and it is available only till your logout. But when you come tomorrow and log in on the same system, those settings will not be available to you because that is your another session, right? In order to make the settings available for every session of the user, you can make them permanent. Okay, you can make them permanent by using some certain startup scripts. Using startup scripts you can make the settings permanent. The startup scripts executed when user logs in. Okay, then the settings will be again reverted. The initialization scripts in different shells are listed below. So here dot profile in Bourne shell, dot profile and dot kshrc in Corn shell, dot bash profile or bash login or bash rc in bash shell, dot login and dot cshrc in C shell. So you can observe all of them are hidden files, right? They are starting with a dot. They are all hidden files, and the settings you can store in these files in different shells for making your settings permanent. Okay, and it is available for the user for all his sessions. The dot profile file, it is a question paper question, and all the environment variables also are question paper questions. When logging into an interactive login shell, login will do authentication, set environment and start your shell. In the case of bash, the next step is reading the general profile by the /etc directory, and that profile is present in /etc directory. If this file exists, okay, dot profile file is existing. If it is not existing, you can create one. Okay, you can create a dot profile file and you can store all your settings there if it is not existing. The bash then looks for bash profile or bash login and dot profile in that order. See, all these are existing in your home directory. That's why this tilde symbol are present, right? And then reads and executes the command from the first one that exists and is readable. So it will see whether this is existing or this is existing or this is existing in your bash shell. If any one of them is existing, whichever it finds first, then that will be executed and all your settings will be reverted. If none of them exist, by default /etc bash rc is applied. Okay. When a login shell exits, bash reads and executes commands from the bash logout. So whenever a shell exits, then the settings on exit, what settings have to be done, that is present in bash logout. So this file will be read if it is existing. The profile contains commands that are meant to be executed only once in a session. It can also be used to customize the operating environment to suit user requirements. You can customize it. Every time you change the profile file, you should either log out and log in, because it has to set that settings, right? Or you can execute it by using a special command called dot. So dot profile. If you execute this, it will be permanently set, or if you set it, you have to log in and log out again, or you can execute this command to avoid the log out and log in again. Okay. Okay, that is about the dot profile file, which you can see with ls-a command. Okay, you can, when you execute ls-a command, you can see the existence of dot profile file because it is a hidden file. ls-a will display all hidden files, right? So that ls-a, when you execute, it will show you the hidden file, dot profile file. Okay, that's all for today. Practice all the commands. We'll meet in the next class. Have a great day. Bye-bye.